Hello everyone, my name is DuoM2, and today I got a bit of a different video. This one's going to be shorter, and it's going to be post-commentary of a few matches I did in the tournament recently. Now this is about the format restrictions, and this is a Fakemon-based meta that I won't go super in-depth about, but I will explain as I go on a few important things that you may need to know. I'm sorry if I stutter a bit. I normally pre-record the first part of these videos, but since this one's going to be a bit shorter, and I'm not going to be doing a big explanation where I need to get a lot of information in, I'm just going to do this off of basically one take. Now, this might not be immediately obvious because this metagame has a bit of a different power level from standard OU, but the Pokemon that is going to be starting today is Teslapple, and this is one of the strongest Pokemon in the format. It has really good speed stat, really good special attack stat. Like, this speed stat is only outdone by two really good threats in the format. Well, debatably just one. But that special attack, when backed by Electric Grass Stab, normally would not be the best. It'd be completely stonewalled by grass types and some bulkier dragon types. But this Pokemon has access to Calm Mind and mostly Flower Veil, but it could have competitive as well, just depending on whether you want to be general bulkier Pokemon, so you're immune to status and some, like, Parting Shot. Parting Shot may not sound important, but it is in this format, and competitive is extra, like not a safety net, that'd be Flower Veil, but it'd just make you extra scary against Defog and Sticky Web. Now, this Pokemon typically just runs Thunderbolt and Giga Drain as its attacking moves, sometimes Volt Switch as well on more utility variants, or I think some Calm Mind variants have run it, but it has access to Calm Mind and Defog, which I might have mentioned earlier, I forgot, but Calm Mind allows for more setup-based variants to exist, and Defog allows for utility-based ones to exist, and I believe it also runs Synthesis alongside Defog. There's some bulkier grasses in this meta that can check it, but there's not really a super hard counter to this thing, which sounds really scary on paper, and it definitely is, but it's not unstoppable in practice. But I today have to show you two really stupid tournament games I got with this. I want to mention beforehand that both of my opponents very easily could have beaten me. I placed them both above me in the seeding, although one of them was like right next to me, I think. But I only ended up winning each of these sets 2-1, and if I recall correctly, all of the other games were close, so really sucks that these games were the deciding factor. Now, I don't expect you to understand every single Pokemon on my opponent's team, so I'm just going to go over the gist of everything. By the looks of their team, this is a hyper offense team centered around Sticky Web. Refloose has like base 109 speed, I think it was, maybe 106, and is a frail Sticky Web setter, while all of the other Pokemon on their team are either straight up offensive Pokemon or have some kind of breaking potential. And just so you guys know, it's not super important to this battle, but my team is a balanced team. I'm using this for both games, but I have a Hazard Setter, a Teslapple, which I just mentioned. This is a competitive Calm Mind variant, Scaleron, especially defensive Defogger, Tuco, a pretty general check to a bunch of physical attackers, probably one of the best things in the format. Soray, a very scary physical breaker with 108 speed, or 128, I'm sorry, speed. It outspeeds Teslapple, that's the one big thing. And a Floof, who is a slower adaptability breaker with a normal dark typing that also has access to some priority moves. So, my course of action from Team Preview, I have both a way of outspeeding them in Teslapple and another way of outspeeding them with Soray in the back because I'm Choice Scarf, and a Floof with priority. And so if I lead Teslapple, I can either deny them of webs, or I can force them to trade their Refloose for my Teslapple, which, in hindsight, I don't know if it would have been the best trade, but denying them of webs definitely would have been very nice. And so, I need to turn the music off, it was very loud last time. If I play here, it shows that I do guess their lead correctly, and I Thunderbolted, and so they Sticky Web. So I won't need to sack this thing off, and I'll just need to keep my my Scaleron safe so I can defog their webs later. It is Flying type, but most of their mons are most likely going to outspeed mine, so I likely would need to take one hit anyways. Thunderbolt this and dispose of it, and this is where things get a bit interesting for his side, because I mentioned earlier, none of his Pokemon outspeed me, except Kelvin could potentially run Choice Scarf, and I guess Teslapple could too, but it's not really that common. And so, none of his Pokemon have good enough Special Bulk to reliably take this thing on. Like, Motolith is his one remotely defensive Pokemon, and its special defense is just bad. I'll be upfront with that. So at this point, he goes out to his own Teslapple, which resists both of mine's stab moves, and at this point, I substitute. I can't remember if he Calm Minds or Giga Drain. He Calm Minds, okay. So we're both just setting up on each other at this point. Just to go over mine's moveset real quick, it's Thunderbolt, Substitute, Calm Mind, Giga Drain. He breaks my sub here. I don't know why I did that in the first place, and so at this point I expect him to Calm Mind again, but he doesn't. He just goes straight for Giga Drain, and yeah, this is a pretty scary situation because neither of us are going to back down, and whoever wins this situation is going to have a massive advantage. I don't know for certain that the Kelvin is not Choice Scarf, but judging by his response to me going out to Teslapple, it most likely is. And I have multiple ways of outspeeding him, as I mentioned before. Soray has Choice Scarf and is faster, so it will basically be able to bypass Sticky Web and outspeed their entire team. And I have a Floof with Fake Out and Sucker Punch, which its attack stats lower than special attack, but still would have been able to possibly chip it down, although Soray would have been my main method with U-turn. But anyways, I Giga Drain him, and I would 2-hit KO him from this range, and he also puts me in a 2-hit KO range. I did not explain that well, but we just know that we both would kill each other from this point, and it all comes down to a speed tie, because looking at the past few turns, it is not consistent who went first and who went last. So, had I lost this speed tie, I would have had a big uphill battle to climb, probably would have lost outright, but I still would have at least had a fighting chance thanks to Soray and a Floof, and he most likely does not have anything that outspeeds me, so had I won this trade, I would have thought myself to be in a great position. I was like, you know what, it'd be funny if it worked, and sure enough, it does. So, I think he doesn't go Kelvin next. Yeah, he goes Motolith to try and tank it, which tells me that he is most definitely not Choice Scarf Kelvin, and at this point I had just safely assumed that I had won the game. I don't really think there's any other I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but I don't think there's any way he could really challenge me at this point. And just like that, I won my round 1 here. This was round 2 of the bracket, and this was the first of 3 games that I played against this opponent. And so, I'm just glad the other 2 games didn't go like that at least, but it really sucks that this was the deciding factor there. And now, after that, I had my round 3, which would be semifinals. There were only 4 people remaining before this battle, against Ready to Lose on Smoggin. His name is How Does Win here, so if I refer to him as Ready to Lose, just know that that's him. And looking at our 2 teams, I have the same balanced team as before, and he has a Bulky Breaker, a Setup Cleaner, or sometimes they run Choice, a really bulky pivot that I will get into later, a sometimes offensive pivot that just has a lot of defensive utility, a bulky setup sweeper typically, and a straight up slow breaker. But at this point, yeah, it all starts at turn 30, like the important stuff, or turn 29 specifically I think it was, and so I'm not going to slow down and go through the rest of this battle turn by turn. But I do want to say what happens and show it just in case you guys want to keep track of it or anything specific. I think throughout this game I was slowly losing the hazard game, but I haven't fully rewatched it lately, so I don't know. I really struggled to find an opportunity to get my breakers in, or was really hesitant to for some reason. I had Soray, a Floof, and Teslapple all in the back. But I don't know, couldn't really find a chance for any of them without putting them at severe risk. Although I might have been doing that wrong in hindsight. So we're approaching turn 29. And I want to go over Barassa real quick as we start to get there. This thing is just insanely bulky. Like, it would be Uber's level had it not been for an unfortunate typing, and I think it's pretty passive too. But I want to see if I can find the stats. Hold on. Wait. Yeah. So this thing has insane physical bulk, 136, 118, and it's not even like its special defense is that bad either. 95 is very good when complemented with base 136 HP. And Dark Grass with Thick Fat is also pretty darn good, although it unfortunately is weak to U-turn and is susceptible to pivot spam. Like, I've quite a few times had to face against a Soray with U-turn and a Choice Band flip turn user and just been caught in a vortex of U-turn, flip turn, U-turn, flip turn, and had to find a way out of that. But this Pokemon, Barassa, is typically known as one of the best checks to Teslapple, although after my set, both this and another game, I'm really starting to reconsider that, because the other game, I had kind of learned that Parting Shot completely is blocked by Flower Veil, and because it has access to Flower Veil, and it cannot be poisoned or Parting Shotted out on, Barassa can't really do much back, but it is still a fantastic stop to more utility-based variants. Mine is a Calm Mind variant though, and it has competitive, and I had the idea to go hard out into it against a Parting Shot, which I believed was coming this turn. Either this turn or next, honestly, I can't remember. Once again, sorry for the lack of professionalism, I guess. And so, I poison it here, and I think that he either Aromatherapies this turn or Parting Shots. Yeah, he Parting Shots here, and that procs my competitive, which gives me a net +3 special attack, which... Yeah, I think he mentioned in the chat at some point that he had Snarl in this, but that really wouldn't help against either variant, unfortunately, because of the two abilities. And so he immediately goes out to Quandringo here, and I think I don't know if I think he wanted to do that just to get Barassa back out. Like, I think that choice was kind of arbitrary. Maybe to get me to Thunderbolt more or something, I don't know. But I do Thunderbolt here. Barassa takes it very well, considering I'm at +3, and I want to sub up to set up on this thing further, but he thinks that I'm just going to Calm Mind, maybe? I don't know, honestly. But because I substitute up, I'm safe against his especially bulky poison type, and am able to get rid of it very easily. He still has two other checks in the back, but Barassa's not going to really do that much. And he Dragon Dances up on this. I believe Quadringo's base speed is around 80-ish, and so if it were a faster variant, it would have been able to outspeed me, but thankfully for me, I guess, it was not. I don't think it would have one-shotted me anyways. I don't think it has any coverage for this. But at this point, once again, we're in a situation where everything on his team is slower. Like, Sindarner has base 50 speed, Airrock has to run Toxic Orb in order to have its main defensive use. And Torgeist has base 105 speed, I believe it is, but could be Choice Scarfed, but judging by his response here, it is not. So at this point, it's just game. Like, I just blow through everything. Now, this mod may seem really broken on paper, and I want to say that these are like the only two cases where games have been like this, and there's a pretty prominent check to it that it's also one of the best Pokemon in the format that I want to mention here real quick, and that Pokemon's name is Sinistar. This Pokemon has access to Regenerator, a typing that takes neutral damage from both of its stab moves. Teslapple has access to both Surf and Flash Cannon, but this would be its only target, so it's kind of a niche option. Its special bulk is very good, and it typically runs specially offensive spreads, and its most common attacking move is Sludge Bomb. It may not seem that good to run just a poison move, I guess. I don't know. A Rock Stab may be better on a flat-out defensive Pokemon, but this thing actually does run a Soul Fest from time to time, and Poison Stab is actually very, very good in this format. Bulky Poisons, Steals, and Grounds are not the best outside of a few notable exceptions, with Sinistar actually being the main one in my opinion, but there's not really much else for me to say with this video. I don't think Teslapple is broken, but just wanted to share these really dumb replays because I thought it was funny. I'm not going to be doing videos like these very often, but that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. If you guys have any criticisms or just anything, please let me know in the comments. I really appreciate hearing them. And with that, I'll see you guys later.
Subscribe!